Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how to heal any condition, manifest perfect health, wealth, and love. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning and welcome back to the studios of Be Something Wonderful. Here we are in Cozumel, Mexico with another powerful video. One of you reached out with a beautiful transformative story of your life. And you specifically pointed to some videos that really resonated with you on the channel. But over 8 months, your entire life changed, right? This person was talking about stories. She said, I was telling stories of my chronic lower back pain, that I was exhausted all the time, that I stopped riding. She's a biker. She does biking almost every day, or used to, but now she's back to that, right? She stopped going out, stopped dating after what she said was a horrible breakup, right? With an ex-boyfriend, a third party involved. She was feeling betrayed, broke, and broken, right? Out of work for weeks at a time because of these health issues. And it wasn't really the job she wanted. There wasn't enough free time. It wasn't enough money. Then what she did, she pointed to another video where I talked about one of you that said, I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired, and made a decision in that moment that I am that I imagine myself to be. I am that new identity. I am in my new life, no matter what the circumstances or conditions are showing me. She pointed to the idea of the circus, as we've talked about, right? Everything's about your awareness of being. Everything else is the circus of the changing conditions and circumstances. She goes, your videos on the anomalous burst of energy. This is the anomalous burst of energy. We've talked about this. We pointed to the teachings of Vadim Zeland in reality transurfing, where he talks about that moment when you have an anomalous burst of energy, where your heart and mind is aligned, where you're now aware of being that person you desire to be. She made a decision that that's enough. It's enough of feeling betrayed and broke and broken. It's enough of this old life, of this complaining and whining and waiting for things to change. She just said, I had enough. And she embodied this 2-second imaginal scene. It was just a few seconds. We've talked about the 2-second imaginal scene, right? And she said this has changed her entire life. Remember, the imaginal scene doesn't create anything. It points you, or puts your awareness on that reality that's already you, that identity that's already real, that's already who you are. And her scene was this, right? And remember, this scene implied everything, right? Because it's in the implication. It's not in the details of the scene. She had a scene of her biking with her new love, right? She didn't even have a detailed sense of who this is. She just felt that there was someone with her, right? Wind blowing against her face and her arms stretched out on her bike. That was her scene. That's a scene of health, wealth, and love. Then she said astonishingly, right, the back pain started diminishing. Her awareness was no longer on that. She returned to biking. Right in that moment, she started up again. She said the first couple days, even weeks, it seemed like I was still physically hurting and even hurting a bit thinking about the betrayal. But then she goes, then she's watching the video, she goes, I'm not broken. I wasn't betrayed. I'm betraying myself by not stepping into that new identity. Very powerful. She now has a new job with more money and free time. That came after, I think she said, 6 weeks into this idea that she's in this new reality. It's all changed for her now. An entirely new life, an entirely new identity. I want to talk about this today and more. Remember, we talked about this. The only way or door to perfect health, wealth, and love is through your awareness. Through the door. I am the door. You're already that identity and version of you. Through your awareness that you're already that. It's a decision. It's a choice. And then looking at the changing conditions and circumstances, no matter how much they're in your face, no matter how much pain, whether it's physical or psychological, you're feeling in that moment, you can be aware of that greater reality. You can be aware of already being that person you desire to be. It's a decision to either sit and wait and whine or to stand in that knowing that you're already that person you desire to be and that you already have all the health, wealth, and love that you could imagine. Stop telling the story. This is what Neville Goddard and other spiritual teachers talked about, inner speech or inner talking. The story the dialogue that you have with yourself in every moment, right? And stop perpetuating the reality and identity of being unhealthy, being poor, being lonely, right? You just perpetuated that. You're never healing conditions. Remember, we talked about this with her. She knew that it was her perception, that the conditions are conditions, circumstances are circumstances. The circus is the circus, right? As we've talked about, everything's about your awareness. Everything else is the circus. She knew that the only thing that she needed to heal was her perception of who she is, her awareness of already being that person she desires to be. Very powerful, because you're never healing conditions. You're not manifesting wealth. You're not attracting love. It's none of that. It's never about what happens with conditions and circumstances or what you see, feel, think, or do about them. This is powerful. I'm pointing to that scene in The Chosen in the last season, right? The very last season, the season that just ended. Very powerful scene. We're going to talk about that. It's not about any of that. It's about remembering, recognizing, and being aware that you are the awareness and only reality within which your world, your entire world, lives, moves, exists, and has its being. Remember from Scripture, in Him we live, we move, and exist. Right? You create your entire world. This is what she got in a big way, right? Changed her entire life. In every moment, you're shifting realities, identities, and worlds. Absolutely new. Continually passing over to a totally new you in reality. That's the whole metaphysical meaning of Passover. The Passover, right? The week of Passover. The week of Passover is every moment for you. Every moment you're shifting realities. Every moment you're completely new. In that new moment, there's no back pain until you put your awareness on it. There's no chronic condition or even debilitating, serious, or terminal condition in that new moment. There's no loss of love or heartache or heartbreak in that moment. There's no poverty or credit card bills or things that you need to pay in that moment. It's all new in that moment. The Chosen, Season 4, Episode 8, as Jesus was going to ride the donkey into Jerusalem as the Messiah, right? And this is what he says to his apostles, his disciples. I've talked about this in a few videos now. No matter what happens this week, in other words, the week of Passover is every moment. You're passing over to that new state of being, that new consciousness, that new awareness that you already have all the love, wealth, and health that you could imagine. That no matter what you see, feel, or think, or do, no matter what the circus of circumstances is showing you, the changing appearances, I want you to know that in this world I loved you as my own. I love that. In this world I loved you as my own. In other words, you've moved to that new state. And you were loved in that, you were always loved, right? And now you're in that new state, you're in that new world, you're one with that love of that new world. You're one with the circumstances and conditions of what you desire to be. That's powerful. It doesn't matter what happens in the manifesting or manifested changing conditions. The appearances, the feelings, the thoughts and actions. None of that matters. In this world, right, circumstances are circumstances, conditions are conditions, but I am. I've always been loved. And now I'm in that new state and I'm aligned with that love that was always there. Do you hear it? I'm aligned with that new life that's always been there, that new identity that's always been there. That's powerful. It's about, remember, when we talked about this quote that I said, and I'm scuba diving here, of course, in Cozumel, and I was talking about this when I was in Bonaire. It's about breathing and buoyancy. The rest is a circus. One dive master shared that with me, and I use the metaphysical meaning of that is that it's about awareness of being, already being that person you desire to be. Everything else is the circus of changing conditions. It's about being that perfect health, wealth, and love that you already are. Being in love with yourself, in love with life, right? Seeing that perfect divine health that you already have, despite the back pain in these changing conditions or whatever chronic conditions we're talking about, or even terminal conditions. In this moment, you're completely new. Despite the credit card bills and the lack that you're feeling, you're new and fulfilled in this moment. Stop trying to change, control, influence, get rid of, complain about, resist the circus of changing and manifesting conditions. It's about your breathing and buoyancy. Everything else is circus. It's about your awareness of being. Everything else is the circus. This is powerful. But then you ask, as many of you have, and even she said that this is what her story was before she actually made that decision. That's it, I'm done with all of that. What about the negative 3D conditions that are in your face or in my face? What about the chronic pain, the debilitating illness, or the terminal or life-threatening circumstances? Right? All of you talk about that. Remember, when you tell the story of chronic pain, you create a reality of it being chronic. So you ask, well, how do I manifest the reality of not having chronic pain? You can't, because you created the reality of it being chronic. Do you see it? Stop calling it chronic. Stop calling it debilitating. Stop calling it terminal or life-threatening. Instead, it's just one possibility, one probability of all the realities that you're living right now. You're living all your lives, past, present, and future, right now. You're all of them. Decide what story you want to tell them, no matter what those conditions are showing you. There's always that question, well, what about health? Do a health video. I have many on the channel. But if you're putting your focus on those conditions, then that's what you're going to create. If you keep calling them chronic and debilitating and terminal, then that's the life you create. If you keep talking about heartbreak and heartache and being lonely and lacking love, that's the reality you're going to create. If you keep talking about the credit card bills and that you never have money, that's the reality you're creating in this moment. What about the pile of bills and creditors calling me, or my empty bank account? What about the third party with a specific person, weeks of no contact, no love in sight? Do you see it? In other words, you're saying, what about the circus? It's not about the circus. The circus is the circus. Conditions are conditions, but I am. It's about your awareness of being. I am what? I am who and what I desire and want to be. I am the door. I am the way to all the health, wealth, and love I could ever imagine. Some of you I noticed, were asking, but what? I don't understand. Do I just say I am, or do I declare what I want? It doesn't matter. I am that which I desire to be. I am that ideal. You can declare anything, but stop declaring the realities that you don't desire or prefer. That's the message. Stop declaring the conditions of the circus, right? Stop trying to control that or influence it or get rid of it. It's there. It's always changing, and it's changing to who and what you're conscious of being, right? So one simple, powerful imaginal scene, just a few seconds. I want to go back to this because she created one that was so powerful, the idea of biking and feeling free. I love the freedom of her imaginal scene that she created, right? Feeling that freedom of doing everything she wanted that implied all the health, wealth, and love that she could ever imagine, right? It changes your entire world and your life experience because it's about you, your scene or assumption of absolute and utter fulfillment. It's about you, how the circus, allow the circus to be the circus, conditions to be conditions, thoughts and feelings to be thoughts and feelings, and imagine and assume what you want anyway. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. That's how to heal any condition. That's how to manifest perfect health, wealth, and love. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, the Be Something Wonderful ambassadors. On Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, TikTok at Be Something Wonderful, and our membership channel, where we have our 7th live stream of the year, our 7th live event, to be broadcast exclusively on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel. Guys, be sure to join us. That's on July 28th, next Sunday, 2024 at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, USA. I'm going to be coming to you live on our Be Something Wonderful membership channel. It's going to be our 7th live event, our 16th live event overall. If you're a member, join us. If you're not a member, check out the link below. Creators with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, this is Tom Kearin here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful, Until next time, we'll see you soon.